Yeah, so let's continue from where we stopped. I've shown you the different ways to create nodes, two different approaches to creating nodes and how to navigate to nodes, and then how to encode from a particular node. Another important functionality when it comes to node creation in NVIVO that I need to show you is the option called auto coding. Auto short for automatic. What this option does is, especially for people who have like a kind of a structured data collection instrument, or you've done a very structured interview and you've asked your participant a very structured question, is a question and answer session. You ask a question, you answer, you ask a question, you answer. And you have all the responses having the same structure across all your files. So what automatic coding does is that NVIVO, based on the kind of structure that you've instructed it to use, goes through your documents, and all the information or the contents that falls under that defined criteria, it puts all of them into one particular node. So for example, if you're doing a study, again, the example I used earlier about rural poverty and livelihoods, and one of the questions that you ask your participants is, tell me the kind of financial capital you have to support your livelihood. They describe the kind of financial capital, you type that under that. Another one, a human capital, you type that under that, social capital. So you have, you've done 20 interviews, you have 20 transcripts, and all the responses are typed into those kinds of structure. So with automatic coding, NVIVO allows you to pull all the text under financial capital from the 20 transcript into a node called financial capital. All the text under social capital in the 20 transcript, it pulls all of them together into one node called human social capital. And this is a very useful tool for me, especially if you've gone out and collected large data sets. For those of you who are academics and you are now sitting with your data, you want to start writing up your papers. And a particular paper you want to write is just maybe focusing on the social capital in this community. So you're not interested in other forms of capital, you just want to focus on social capital. So with this automatic coding, you are able to just focus only on the folder that has all the texts called all the text under social capital. So to be able to do that, you need to format your text, format your document outside of NVIVO. You can also do it in NVIVO, but I'll show you quickly in Word how that is done. So if you look at the document that I've shared with you, I've used this heading style in Word. If I click on this option, greetings, you see that heading 1 is highlighted. Scroll down, context of speech, heading 1 is highlighted. If I use my view and I go to navigation pane, you see that all the headings that I've used are highlighted. So you need to set up this in Word document, and you can do it in NVIVO as well, as I said. And then when you are in NVIVO, you can now use this paragraph style, or you can also use names. For example, if you've done focus group discussion, to group all responses by participants into a particular folder with the name of that participant. So let me just demonstrate to you how that works practically. So you need to come to your folder where you have your data. Our transcripts are here. You select all of them and you right click. Once you right click, you choose this option that says auto code. Auto, short for automatic. You click on that. And this gives you the different structures that you can use to code. For the purpose of this training, we're going to use the speaker name and paragraph style. So let's start with paragraph styles. Okay, we want to code automatically using paragraph styles. We go to next. Okay, and it gives you what kind of style do you want to use. So for my data, I've set heading 1 for each of the main themes, let's call it that way, each of the main themes in this in my transcript. I've set them as heading 1. So I'm going to click on this option and I move it to this space here, and I click on next. Now, SPSS gives me this option to say, do I want to put it under existing node? Okay, I don't want it under existing node, so I'm going to say new. Okay, where do you want it to be stored? I want it to be stored under nodes. It's not cases, so I'm going to leave it like that. And then I'm going to call this key research themes. Okay, do I want to aggregate from child node to parent node? I really don't at the moment, because if I do this, what is going to appear under this parent node called key research themes is the entire content of my 4 transcripts, which is not really helpful. So at this stage, it doesn't make sense to choose this option, aggregate from children node. So I'm going to click on finish. And when we come back to nodes, you can see that a new node has been created called key research questions. Okay? And remember, I told you if you have this plus sign here, it tells you that they are children node. You click on that, it opens the nodes that are under that. So now, for my transcripts, I have 4 key themes. Remember, I told you these documents are just state of the nation addresses by 4 different presidents that I copied from the internet. So I've just played with them and I formatted different sections into these 5 themes, like context of the speech, economic challenges, greetings, political challenges, social challenges. So now if you click and if you look at this option here, it tells you that you've coded from your 4 files, you've coded 4 times from each of these files. So if you double click on this, it opens text that you've coded under context of the speech from all the files. You see, this is the link to the first file. You come here, this is a link to the second file, it's the link to the third file, and you have the link to the 4th file. You can do the same to check and confirm with all your nodes, okay? But if you don't want these things to be under these key themes, because remember, you need to create this parent node in order to do the auto coding. But let's say we don't really need this one. We want each of these to be a parent node on their own. How do we do that? So the question here is, how do we make a child node to become a parent node? What you need to do, click on the nodes that you want to make a parent a node on their own, you copy, you right click, and then you cut. I'll take that again. You select all the nodes that you want to make into parent node. You want to make them independent nodes, not nodes dependent on these key research teams. You highlight all of them, you right click, you cut. You come to any blank space here, you right click and you paste. You have economic challenges. Context of the speech, we have number 2 here because we remember I've created a node previously called context of the speech, and we can't have 2 nodes with identically the same name. So NVIVO has automatically changed the name for me here. So now, because we have now taken away all the children node from this node that is called key themes, you see that it is 0, 0. We don't want it anymore. It has performed its function. You just select it. Select it, you hit delete on your keyboard. Hit delete on your keyboard and you delete. And it is now gone. Another quick thing I need to show you is you can also change the names of your node. So for example, yesterday you're doing something and then let me use this example here. So I told you earlier that sometimes when you're coding, you're going through things and you've created 20 nodes, and then you come today, you realize, no, you were too ambitious. It doesn't make sense to have these many nodes. You can actually group them into smaller nodes that are more manageable and more sensible. So I'll give you the example. Here we have a node called economic challenges. We have another node called social challenges. Okay, we want to combine these two or merge these two into a node called socio-economic challenges. Okay, instead of having social challenges as a standalone node and economic challenges as a standalone node, we want to merge the two of them into a single node called socio-economic challenges. So first of all, what you need to do is change the name of one of these nodes, either this or that, into the new name that you want. To do that, you can simply right-click on the node that you want to change. You go to this option here that says Node Properties, okay? And you can change the name of the node here. Socio-economic challenges, okay? I click on OK. Right, so now I want to bring these economic challenges and merge it into this challenge, okay? To do that, I come here to the economic challenges node, I right click and I cut it. Okay, you're not copying, you cut it because you want it to disappear completely. You come to economic challenges, you select it, you right click on it, and then you say merge into selected node. Very important to be sure of what you're doing. We don't want to merge as a child node. If you merge as a child node, what this will do is it will make this to become a child node of this. And that's not what we want to do. So right click again, merge into selected node, and leave all these options. These are just the standard settings. It means that if you've created links, for example, if you've created memos in this node, you should bring the memos here. If there are other links, for example, to the documents, it should come here. If you've created a relationship, it should keep it. So you just leave it like that and you click on OK. And with that now, your economic challenges is gone. You have your socio-economic challenges as one single node. So that's another way to create create a node. So with that simple step that we've done, NVIVO quickly pulled, it quickly went through the 4 files that I have in this project, and all the documents, each of them has a section called context of the speech. NVIVO pulls all of them and brought them here. They have a section called political challenges. It pulls all of them and brought them into this folder here. So if I'm doing a paper looking at the State of the Nation address in South Africa from 1994 to 2020, for example, and for this particular paper, I just want to focus on political challenges. All I need to do is any other thing I do at this moment, I will only focus on this node. I don't have to worry about any other. I've structured my data in such a way that NVIVO has pulled all the text that I need into this node. So it's a very nice way to handle your project. It's also useful for those of you who are doing your master's or your PhD. For example, sometimes maybe you're very ambitious in your research proposal. You've collected so much data, and then when you discuss it with your supervisor, he or she says, look, for the purpose of this PhD, you know, this team, that team, that team, they are enough for you to answer your research questions. Okay, you don't need many other. So all you need to do is you just do this auto coding thing, and then you focus on those nodes that is relevant to answering the research question in order for you to get your degree. But remember, to be able to use this function, you needed to have formatted your data using the paragraph style. I told you you can do that in NVIVO as well, and I'll quickly show you how that can be done. You come to your file, you click to open, and then remember you need to click on this option that says edit. And once you do that, this kind of menu that you have in your Word opens for you, okay? You can come here, and if I want to make this heading 1, I select, highlight it, and I make it heading 1, okay? I think it has done more than what it needs to do. I'm going to undo with Ctrl Z, or you can use this option here. Let me try and create more space. Okay, so it took all of them as a single continuous paragraph. So I've created space. So now this one has become heading 1. So if you've not formatted your document in Word, you can also do that in NVIVO. Okay, so the last way that I'm going to show you how to code, it's for those of you who do focus group discussions. Sometimes in your focus group discussion, before you start, you've collected the information about the profiles of your participants. You give them a pseudonym depending on what you want to do. You give them names, and you ask them before you answer question, give your name, so that when you transcribe in, you can say, okay, Dlamini in this interview says this one said that, this one said that. So assuming you've typed up your transcript and the responses by each of the participant in the interview comes under the name of the participant. So each time the person answers, the name comes first, and then the responses comes. NVIVO can help you to aggregate all the responses by your participants according to their name. So if you have 10 participants in a given transcript, NVIVO will aggregate all their responses into 10 different nodes. And I'm going to demonstrate that to you quickly using the same process of auto coding. I'm going to select everything. I right click on this, and I come and say auto code. So now, instead of using the paragraph style, which was what we did just now, I'm going to use this option that says speaker name, and I'll click on next. And here it tells me to enter the names of all the speakers across all my transcripts. Okay, so I need to start entering their names one by one. And if there's an error, it will tell me if there's an error. So for example, if I type my name, Andrew, and I click on next, you see, it tells me there's an error. There's nobody called Andrew in this transcript. So I can come back here and I change it to Tele. If I go, it tells me, okay, that person is in my transcript. I have another one called Dlamini. Remember, you must have done set your document up before you bring it here. I have another person called Malema. Tells me it's correct. I have another one called Nguni. Tells me it's correct. I have another one called Pando. It tells me it's correct. So you continue remembering how many people participated in your interview or your focus group discussion. I have another one called Sisulu. If I click on tab, it tells me it's correct, and you continue. So once you've typed all the names of your participants, you click on next, okay? And you don't need to do anything here because these are participants in your focus group discussion. When you're bringing in your data, you've created a case folder called demographics, and you click on finish. So once you do that, there is another final step that you need to follow before you can convert what has been created into nodes. You need to come to cases And you see that NVIVO has created all of them into cases because we said it should create it as cases. So we now need to move all these into node. So I select all of them, I right click, I say cut. Okay, then I come back to my nodes. I come here again, I say right click, and then I say paste. It says, do I want to paste as nodes? I say yes. And if you set up your document correctly, what NVIVO has done is simply wherever it sees L, it doesn't matter whether L appears 10 times in your document. It pulls all the responses of L into this node called L. It does the same thing for Dlamini, it does the same thing for Malema, it does the same thing for Gumi. As I said, this is a very useful tool when you're dealing with a focus group discussion. And you can open each of the nodes and because sometimes it's possible for you to it's possible for you to miss out names. So I have my money here and I've not coded my money. So what do? Remember how I showed you how to code your text as you read it. All you need to do is select all the text called my money, all the text under my money. You right click, you click on code, we say new node, and we call it my money. You click on OK, and now we've created a new node called my money right here. So this is another way that we can create, automatically go through our nodes and auto code the contents of our nodes. I am not sure if we could pause here and take more questions. I don't want to overload you with information. It's a bit difficult doing this online. As Prof said, our previous experiences have been that we do this in a physical setting where we have assistants going around ensuring that everybody is on track, and we take it very slowly. So this has been quite a bit of information that I've shared. So I think I'll pause for a few minutes and take questions, or if there are things that people want to clarify.
Thanks, Andrew. There was a point at which one of the attendees asked you to repeat something. I've just sent a message to inquire whether they're okay now. It was Omolola. In the meantime, I see Sangia's hand is up. You can unmute your mic and speak to us here.
Yes, please. I hope you all doing well.
We can't hear you very well. Is it possible to get closer to your mic?
Hello?
Yes, that's a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's much better. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, I was saying that yesterday I couldn't attend, but then I managed to attend today. My question was that, are you going to be able to provide us with videos, because you will find that some of us are going to start collecting their data maybe in August, September. We might be forgetting already some of the steps, just to keep on reminding ourselves.
Sanga, the videos will be made available. Once the trainings are completed, it will be shared with everybody. But I would really encourage you, don't wait until August before you start practicing. Even tonight, you have to practice. I promise you, if you wait until August, it's going to be very difficult for you to come back and go through the processes again. So the only way for you to be very familiar with this is to constantly practice. And then you realize that by the time you get to August, you actually don't need the video anymore because it has become a very part of you. So that's what I would say about that. I see a couple of other questions in the chat. Is auto coding only for focus group discussion? No, it is not for focus group discussion only. As I showed you, if you have a very structured interview and you have respondents given the same kind of structured responses, you're able to do auto coding as well. That was the first example that I gave. I'm happy to go through that again to demonstrate it to you. There is a question here. Once again, can you take that again? I don't know what that is. Please repeat the part where you copied cases into Node. I can do that. I can do that again. If there's no other question,
yeah,
I think I'll repeat those two steps.
Yes, there's two things. It's the auto coding as well, if you can repeat.
Okay.
There's another query on auto coding at the bottom.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll just take us through the two ways of doing auto coding again, so that we become more familiar with it. I understand that there is quite a lot of information to take in. I'm not giving you the chance to practice. I said, in the other training we do, I demonstrate on the screen and people follow step by step. But unfortunately, we are not able to do that with an online training. So I'm going to do that again, but to be able to do that, I have to delete all these things that I have created. So give me a few seconds. Context of the speech, political challenges, socioeconomic challenges, greetings. That's gone. That's gone as well. I come to my cases. Okay, it's all good. Come back to Node. We are all good. Right. So I'll take you quickly through the steps. As I said, there are actually three ways to autocode. I've just shown you two. One of them is the name. When you have focus group discussions and you have names of participants, before you type the response of a person, you type the name and the response comes under that. So you're coding according to names. You're telling NVIVO, wherever you see the name of this person, please pull all the text into a node with that name of the person. The second option that I told you is where you have structured your transcript into themes. Same approach, you're telling NVIVO, go through all my transcripts and all the texts that fall under this theme, pull them into one node. So I'm going to take you through both of the process again quickly. Remember, you need to select all your files or all your transcripts. If there are 20 of them, you need to select all 20. You right click, you come to this option that says auto code. Okay, let's do it the other way around now. We're going to use the speaker option first. We want to code by speaker, by names of our participants. Okay, you click on next. Okay, then you type the names of those that participated in your focus groups. And as I told you, if there's an error, it will show that there's an error here. If there's a tick, the green one or blue one, I can't tell the color. But if there is that tick there, it means that the person, the name appears in your transcript. Okay. Guni. Pando. Sisulu. And I think I had my money. My money. That's the correct spelling, yes. So once you've entered all the names, you click on next. Okay, and you don't do anything here, you leave everything to default, the default setting, and you click on finish. And remember, I should have shown you that the information is stored in a folder called cases. This is where our cases are. It has created cases for them. So you need to come to this folder called cases, and you see all of them, they've been created here. So you select all of them, okay? Select this one, I hold my Control key. I select all of them, and then I cut. You right click, you cut, and then you come to your nodes because we want to create them as nodes. You right click in any space, blank space here, you say paste, or if you want a quick way, you say Control V, a shortcut for paste, and you say paste. So now you have all the participants, all their responses have now been coded into node. So if you want to see all that Dlamini says, all you need to do is to open this node called Dlamini. If you want to hear to see all that Maimane says, you open this node. All the responses of Maimane to the discussion in the focus group will be in this node if you have structured your data correctly. So the second way that I showed you, it's the one using the heading styles. Again, remember you need to come to this option that says individual interviews. Again, you have to select everything. I select the first file, hold my shift key, select the last one. Or if you like quick way, you press Ctrl A, you right click, come to auto coding, and instead of speaker name, you choose the option that says paragraph styles. Okay. Once you choose on this option, you go to next. Okay. When you come to next, remember I told you that I set my document here using the heading style. Okay. Heading 1. Okay. So all my themes, all my big themes, all of them, I've formatted them in Word as heading 1. So if you come to NVIVO here, it gives you the different kinds of heading styles. So if you've used normal, it will pick it as normal. If you use heading 2, it picks heading 2. So I select heading 1, move it to this dialog box, okay, and then I click on next. It asks me, do I want to put it under existing node? Okay. If there's an existing node that I want to put it under, I can leave this as a default. But for this, for what we're doing now, I don't want to put it in an existing node. I need to create a folder to be able to collate all the information that I need. So I click on new node or case, okay? And because we're creating nodes, we'll leave it here, we're not creating cases. If we're creating cases, we select that option and we come to cases. So we're not creating cases, we leave that. And then you give it a name. And I'm not sure if this is what I used the other time, but let's call it primary themes. Call it primary themes because these are the main themes in the research, the broad themes. And then I told you that even though this is an interesting functionality, we don't need to use it here because if you click on this option, what NVIVO will do is that all the content of all your transcripts, all of them will appear in this node called primary themes. And that is not helpful in any way. So you don't really need that. You're just creating this node to be able to create your primary theme. So at the end of the day, we're going to eliminate that. So we don't need to click this option. Then we say finish. And you remember our nodes are stored in the node tab. You click on that, you look for your primary theme, and here is our primary themes. And remember I told you wherever you see a plus, it means you have children node, okay, or subsidiary nodes. You click that, it opens the subsidiary nodes, okay? I'm not sure why this is here. I think it must have entered it incorrectly. So we have these nodes that we've created called context of the speech, economic challenges, greetings, honorable members, political challenges, social challenges. So these are the broad themes in this State of the Nation address given by 4 presidents of South Africa. So now we said we use these primary themes just to be able to make these themes from our research. We don't really need it. So we need to make this children node into parent node. And to be able to do that, you select all of them, you right click, you cut, and then you come to any blank space, you right click again and you paste. So now all of them have become an independent node. We have our economic challenges, we have our honorable members, we have our greetings, we have our political challenges. So if you've set up your folder or if you've set up your transcripts correctly, if you've done a structured interview and you set up your transcript correctly, with just these few steps, NVIVO is able to pull all your documents together quickly into your broad themes, and then you're able to focus, go through it in more details, and be able to now pick out the more finer themes. And these are things that you need to do on your own. As I said yesterday, it's not like quantitative research where you can ask somebody to look at data for you and run this test and do that, this and that. Qualitative research, as a researcher, you need to be immersed in the data. You have a better understanding of the data than any other person, and you have to be really involved because, as Prof said earlier, it is not just the data; it is how you encounter your participants, the tone that they use, their expression, sometimes the lingo, the lingo that is used. It might be something that is related to only the kind of study that you're doing. So for me, who is not familiar with that issue, I will not understand the lingo. Recently, for those of you who follow news, there was this concept of, I think it's called ZOL, that the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs used to talk about why smoking, one of the reasons why smoking is banned in South Africa currently. And she said when people ZOL, they share the cigarettes and all this. I didn't know what it is. So if you're not a smoker or if you're not into that context, you will not understand what people are talking about. So as a qualitative researcher, you really, really need to be very much involved in your data, right from the process of data collection to transcribing and then to the process of coding. So I'm going to stop there for today. Take a few questions if there are any, and then we continue tomorrow.
Thank you, Andrew. There is just one query from Vedata, who's using an older version of NVIVO. She's using version 11. And she says that because of the older version, she doesn't have a speaker option. There's only paragraph styles and paragraphs available. So is there any other way that she can access the speaker option on the older version?
Unfortunately, no, that's not possible. That's an update to version 12. But she can open version 11 in version 12, as far as I know. So she needs to install version 12 NVIVO, and she can open the files that she's created in version 11.
Okay. Vedata, Shamla is available on the chat facility. Perhaps you want to chat with her a little bit. There might be a way in which you can update your Windows version, and then you'll be able to update your NVIVO to version 12. So perhaps liaise either with Shamla or the Learn team and see how ICS can assist you to upgrade your Windows and then to upgrade your NVIVO. Prof. Bob, is there anything you would like to add before we close for today?
Is Prof. Bob still here?
I seem to be having a small problem unmuting her.
Oh, okay.
If there are no further comments or queries for today, we will end the session now, and we'll see. Oh, do you hear, Prof?
Yes, no, I was just saying I'm dealing with something telephonically, colleagues, so stop the meeting whenever you feel comfortable.
All right, Prof. Thank you. Okay, thank you everybody for attending today, and we look forward to meeting you tomorrow. Thank you, Andrew, as well, for your patience, and I do understand this is not the ideal environment, but we'll get there slowly but surely.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks everybody for participating.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. We'll catch up tomorrow.